Chimers.
It's back.
It's back.
Yes, we're back.
Shady's back. No, that's the wrong
Guess
thing.
who's back?
That's
Back
what I
again.
wanted to do it.
Shady's back. You didn't
You
date
can have
yourself.
that as a wedding reception song.
We tried.
Sure.
Song.
Nothing
Sing.
screams love like Eminem.
I said during the reception.
Well, the real Slim Shady, please stand up.
Hey, imagine.
Please stand
Oh
up.
my God, imagine
Please
for the
stand
bride
up.
with the real Snoop. Get up. Don't do that now. Don't do that.
Oh, God, I'd pay
It's gonna ruin your day. Okay.
Yeah. Eminem and love just syncopated, right? Those two words
yes.
definitely.
Like rhubarb and cherries.
And
Just saying.
why don't you put a Marilyn Manson song right after that, and you're good.
You're,
Some people are metalheads. I'm
you're
just saying.
set. Or Green Day or
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah,
All by
Green
Day.
reject.
Hitch
Because
and
you're
a
a
ride.
loser, baby. So
No.
why don't you kill me?
No. Green Day sings a song called "Hitch and a Ride." Just saying, it's
Who?
a good song. Green Day.
Green Day. Okay.
Yes,
a good
it's
song.
a good
Good.
song.
Good
It
to
is a
know.
good song. Not really for dancing though.
I was going to say.
How are you ladies doing?
Good.
We're
yeah.
good.
Are you ready to chime in?
Yes.
Aha, you like that?
I
Huh?
wish we had a bell. Ding.
We should do that, eh? We should
Yeah,
set
we
it
should.
there.
Yeah.
Let's look for
I
it.
have to think of everything. No, I'm kidding.
Wait, do a cheers with the cups.
Oh, yeah,
Look at our famous cups. Look at
Look,
that.
look at
Look
that.
at the mugs.
We're gonna have to show
Beautiful
everybody.
those
Look.
mugs. Wait. Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Look at that. Ding.
Ding.
That's
It's
great.
entirely happening too many times tonight. Okay. It's really scary now. Yes. So I'm so glad to be back.
Yes, same
I'm
here.
always glad to be back.
That's good. You can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong. You have a cheering section and a beautiful,
The pink
sofa.
couch.
Pink and look, even the
It
painting
matches.
kind of
It's
matches
the
and
pink.
everything.
It's like all like, oh, it says love. I didn't even notice the one on top.
The one
Well,
that says
it's
love,
not-
fuck
it's
that
not-
shit,
Yeah.
and support the arts.
It's not in the camera, so you can't see it, but there's
it's
literally
very-
a sign that
very-
says love.
It makes
Yeah.
sense. That's very cute.
And
I'm old, but I'm like cool old. There's another one over there.
That's a good one.
yeah.
But it's like
Except-
it all like matches. It's like
It
all like it
does.
ties in somehow.
There's literally one which I just noticed. It says, "Pardon my fucking French."
And the second one says, I think you should just go for it.
Oh my
Support
god.
the arts and date an artist. Interesting. Okay.
I'm down with that.
Just saying. Just saying.
Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
So you ladies had a good week.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the
Yes.
span of the 10 minutes.
You've recuperated from
Yeah.
the wedding show. Have you?
Yes.
Yes.
Still recuperating.
tried.
We tried.
We
We
tried.
tried. We
Yeah.
tried. But it was so worth it. At
It
the
was.
end.
It was so full of activity, beauty. It was so nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, it was really, really nice. We all know that I said at the last podcast, I like the gowns.
Yes. And you went near it so close. I'm like, oh.
I know. I was like,
She
I was
was
caressing
like-
a kitty cat.
She was like ready.
So imagine you see Lisa grabbing it and just running on.
It's like, where's the exit? Get to the car.
You know? I'd be like a runaway bride. I would.
You go to a car full of Al on the Sunday, and she's like, you see a girl with a wedding dress shopping. What the fuck is happening?
It was.
I needed an event.
They were. It was nice. It was nice. It was.
So
No
for
doubt.
today's podcast,
Yes.
we have a
Yes.
very interesting, I want to say, topic
Yeah.
that I always get asked as a planner. At least, I don't know how many times I get asked, but I get asked it often.
Yeah.
Should you or should not hire a friend for your wedding as a vendor?
As a vendor.
So
that's
I-
juicy.
I always proceed this answer with caution
Mm-hmm.
because a friend is someone that you know them very well.
Mm-hmm.
To me, you know them enough to consider them as a vendor for your wedding, to work at your wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell my couples, okay, does your friend, do they know the wedding industry? Have they been long enough in the wedding industry?
Mm-hmm.
How often do they do weddings? Do they know weddings? And as a friend, you have to tell them that, yes, you're my friend, but you're going to be working. You're not going to be partying,
Yeah.
so to
Oh,
speak.
that's true.
Right?
That's
You
true.
are working at my wedding. And I always say, even if it's a friend, and I quote friends, get a contract, get something signed, because the last thing you don't want is your friend to say, oh, sorry, I won't be able to make it to your wedding.
Yeah, it's true.
And then what do you do? So that's why I always say proceed with caution as a friend. Because if you're telling me your friend is a distant relative of your uncle, it's not really a friend, it's just a distant
Yeah, it's an
relative,
acquaintance.
right?
Uncle.
But to me, a friend is like, you see them often enough, you keep up with each other's lives, So proceed with caution, I always say. And as a planner, some of what I witnessed, I've seen the good and I've seen the bad hiring a friend. I've seen both of it, and I always tell the couples, it's your choice at the end, it's your wedding. I'm here to make it happen. It's my job to make sure everything ties in and everything makes sense at the end, the big puzzle, right? The bigger picture. But if you tell me you trust your friend for your wedding, then okay, I trust them too.
Yeah.
Because, that's part of it. And then I talk to your friend because they're a vendor, and I treat them like a vendor because to me,
They're vendors.
you're not the friend of the bride or the groom.
Yeah.
You're a vendor, and you have to listen to me.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, your friends, the bride and groom, they're not going to have time to converse with you on the wedding day.
Yeah.
You're going to be conversing with me. So I'm from day one, you tell me my friend, I don't know, is it DJ, let's say, because that's a popular
That's normally
one.
what it is.
That's always a popular one.
Or a photographer.
That
Photographer
too, yeah.
or DJ, I would imagine.
No, I mean, again, I've seen it all, the good and the bad.
Yeah.
But I tell said friend, okay, that day you're working. You're not partying.
You're not at the bar.
You're not finishing early to start partying early. You're working till the end. So if your contract or any sort of agreement you made to the couple that's written, saying I'm going to do, let's say, 10 in the morning till 8 at night, I expect you to work those hours, not 5 o'clock I'm done, we're partying. Because then the couple misses out on all the pictures, or the couple misses out on the music, and so you have to, or the DJ friend is at the bar half the time, and I have to go find them and be like, hey, you're working, I need the music. I'm not the DJ, trust me. I don't want to be the DJ behind the booth. I'm worried about everything else, right?
Yeah.
So I always say proceed with caution and make it very clear to your friend that, hey, this is the deal, right?
Yeah.
And if your friend is someone that knows the wedding industry, they've been in the wedding industry for 20 years, I'm not worried. They know what they're doing. They've done hundreds of weddings. Okay, we're good. They're a friend, but they're an actual wedding vendor in the wedding scene, right?
Yeah.
In the industry. But here, you have to be very clear to me and to your friend what's your expectations, and things
makes
like
sense.
that. Yeah, that's what I always say. If it's your day, I'll support you no matter what as your planner, but you have to remember, proceed with caution.
I can understand that.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's my advice.
I have a workaround. Yeah, this is a tip. Now, don't tell anyone, because this is a wedding chimes with tip. It's a hot item. This is a hot
item.
But it is true. Like this, it is a workaround because you have, when it's a friend, you have an option.
Yes.
If you hire them, you're a friend and you're supporting your friend.
Yes,
If you don't, you can always say, "But you're my friend. I don't want you to work." So what you do before is you call another one of your vendors,
Yeah.
and you don't mention friend or no friend.
No, of course, no.
You call the hall, let's say, wherever your venue is, and you say, "Hey, this and that," and you talk to them, and then you say, "Have you ever worked with this DJ?" You get the buzz around. Yes, he's really good. Or
you ask your planner. Did you
ever work with him? Did you ever? So you get the lowdown before.
You ask your friend.
You ask other people before you ask your friend.
it's
You get the
true.
lowdown. You know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
If you just want to save money and you're okay with that, go ahead. Like it's
that
cool.
is true,
It's your prerogative. If you can get a DJ at half the price because he's your friend,
Yeah.
good. But if the music is important to you, and you don't want that to
is
be fucked
true.
up, and if 4 people say,
If your friend is not well, if
right? Or I never heard of him.
It's like, who?
Once,
DJ
twice,
who?
3 times. Yeah.
it's like DJ who?
No, I
Does
don't
he
know.
exist,
Yeah.
So think about it.
Or the photographer too, same thing. Saying,
Yeah,
hey,
same thing.
wedding planner, did you ever work with so-and-so photographer? Oh yeah, he was amazing. Or yeah, she was great.
Exactly. So
But
if you get that, you know you're working with someone.
You know
okay.
your friend is legit and not
Exactly.
just saying,
Yeah.
So take it. That's actually really good advice.
It's
Ask-
unfortunate but people are like, especially DJs and not especially DJs, all,
Any vendor, if it's a florist too.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not only florist, DJ, photographer. It's anyone. Your cake, your desserts. Your friend's a baker.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, you gotta be really careful
So,
with
like,
that
if your
stuff.
friend is a great baker and he or she's offering you the cake or desserts, that's fine. But again, that's different because said friend is not going to be there the whole night and whole day. They just bring the goods and then they leave.
Yeah,
That's-
but also if they
yeah.
make, I don't know, tarallis every week, and that's their specialty.
Yeah, and
and
not a
once
wedding
every 6
cake,
months
yeah.
they make a wedding cake.
That's true.
Yeah,
Actually.
yeah,
Do
gotta-
you want to take that chance?
Yeah,
I don't know.
wouldn't.
true. You see,
It's important.
That's good
I
too.
wouldn't.
How involved do they know how to make a wedding cake? Have they done a wedding cake
Yeah.
that you want?
Yeah.
Like-
5 layers with the fondant, the lace look,
Yeah.
the flowers. Or do they know the rules for the flowers? Because
Yeah.
did you know not all flowers are edible?
Yes, that I heard.
And not only that, but the florist, any good florist slash, the cake designer, regardless if they're edible flowers or not, they wrap them in that special tape.
Yeah.
So even if they're edible flowers, they don't get in the cake because then it's no longer good.
Yeah.
So you see like a bakery that's been doing this for a while, they know the rules, they know what type of flowers,
Absolutely.
they could tell. But if your friend doesn't know, saying, oh yeah, I'll put any flowers, not wrapping the
Put some
tip.
poison ivy
Yeah.
over here.
So if they don't know, and they could really end up getting your guests sick. And remember, it's good, you'll have to sort of live with that decision when,
And I would think also money would
Yeah.
be a factor.
That's true.
especially
Monetary,
if you know
the
them.
monetary aspect, like what do you, okay, how much is a real good discount? Is your friend, example, charging you their full price and you don't know it? Because
Yeah.
they say, oh yeah, this is my cheaper price.
Yeah.
But then you ask around another DJ, realizing that the professional DJ is
Yeah.
actually
It's the
less
same price.
or less
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
Because maybe it's off season and they want to book up the last remaining dates.
Yeah. Yeah.
But your friend is charging you full price, but you don't know,
Yeah.
So you have to look at that too. You have to, don't be, look at all of everything first. Look at the
Yeah.
bigger picture and then say, hey, you know what? My friend is actually less expensive if that's important, if that's a big factor. But it should be because your friend shouldn't be taking advantage of you.
Exactly.
Because they
Yeah,
know.
there's a fine
100%,
line.
Yeah, there's a
fine
very,
line.
very thin line
Yeah.
between, and you don't want your friendship to be ruined.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know,
That
when it
could
comes
do
to music, especially like because DJs, it happens a lot, and bands too. There's a lot of
Yeah.
bands in the city, but they're not wedding bands.
They're just a
So,
generalized.
so there's
band,
bands.
yeah.
Yeah, there's tons of bands that play like in. There's a lot of places like McGivens Pub that have
Yeah,
music.
I remember
Yeah.
I went
And
there
that's
once
it's
or twice.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're not good bands. They are very good bands. But when you play at venues,
It's
the
different.
sound system
Yeah.
is taken care of.
Yeah.
Most of depends which one. But
No. When you play at like McGibbons and restaurants, bars,
Okay,
and
yes, because it's the same
it's the
speaker,
same.
right?
When you go and you're doing a wedding, you are the provider of the sound system.
90%.
And sound is not a thing that is just, if you're a band, you know about it. You
no,
don't.
you have to be experienced. You have to know.
My band has 2 technicians on
It's
site.
true, your text.
We
Yeah.
have 2 techs, just one for sound, one for lighting.
Well, it makes
Yeah.
sense. You're fully equipped. You're professionals.
We have, our wireless systems are top of the
Insurance, yeah,
line.
everything,
Like
yeah.
the rock bands or whatever, I'm saying rock, but the bands that play at other venues, they could be good. But then you need to know that you got to
Yeah.
hire another company to provide the sound,
Yeah.
right? Because
Oh, wow. That's
you,
true.
It's true. You need a whole
you
sound
need
tech,
wireless
yeah.
like our wireless mics are worth about, $3,000-$4,000 each, and we have like
Yeah.
5 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't mess around.
You can't
Yeah,
because you can't get
yeah.
a $200 wireless mic. The minute the bride is going to say your speech is like
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
pay cheap and the frequencies are no good, and all of a
But-
sudden you hear. So there's a lot
Yeah.
that goes into it.
But there's also a positive. Maybe your friend is very well known in the industry.
Sure.
Yeah, then
True.
it's a win,
Sure. And
I-
if he has,
yeah.
maybe your friend knows a company that does sound,
Yeah.
then he can get you a good price.
And that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Cool, yeah,
If your
it's
friend
great.
is a professional and he's well known or she's well known, then it's a win because you're getting an awesome professional.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I had again great experience with friends that were
Yeah.
professionals. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna work with you again. Like this was great.
Well, if
you
your
know?
friend gets
Yeah.
married and hires you as a
Yeah.
wedding planner, you've got the best wedding planner
Exactly.
around. So
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
All
it's
your
a win.
bases are
That's a
covered.
win.
It's a win. So
It's a win.
you have to look at the bigger picture. And like I said, I had great experience with family friends of the bride and groom, and they're professionals. And now I work with them very often because they did an amazing job.
Yeah.
And
you
they're-
know how hard it is for me as a friend when I get asked from a friend to, hey, you're gonna do my wedding. It's so hard because I don't know how to quote it. I don't know
it
how
gets
to.
Yeah, that's
it
what I was
gets-
saying, the money
it gets-
wise.
it
You
gets,
want to do it for
messy,
it's, and it's
yeah.
not because I want to make money. So that's like I don't want to take advantage
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
like I want to give them a really good price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
what's really good? How do
Well,
you quote?
it's also wedding season is wedding season. So
Yeah.
I would have
It's a
gotten
real-
booked.
yeah.
I would have gotten booked from
That
someone
is
else
true.
paying full price, and I've got 5, 6, 10 other people to pay.
Yeah.
So
It's not-
I
yeah.
can't ask them to do it cheaper because they would have
That
been
is
Yeah,
booked.
true.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a
stuck.
deal, but I can't give you.
the best. Yeah, that's
I
the
can't
other
give you
thing,
half
yeah.
price. It's impossible. I don't
and
pay
then,
my expenses.
And then the
you know?
other thing too is I know some friends, that, let's say, are in the industry of the bride and groom, they don't want them to work because they want them at the wedding.
Yeah,
Of
that's
course.
true.
You know, so
That's
let's
another thing.
say if your best friend is a very well-known florist in Montreal, example, for wherever. You don't want them working. You want them to be refreshed and relaxed.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's another thing too. How, you know, you have to think of that too. If you ask, let's say me, right?
Yeah.
Let's say my friend's getting married, and they're like, Val, well, I want you to work, you know, the wedding. I would do it, but then I also want to enjoy. So then I have to see, well, okay, if I do it, I have to finish. You know, I have to at least finish my work at 8, and then make sure said venues are where I'm still here.
Yeah.
You know, so it gets like
It gets touchy, I think, at that point.
It gets touchy because I know that when I'm working, I'm in planner mode. Like I am not
Yep,
best friend.
exactly.
I'm not in the friend mode right now. Like I'm working because there's a lot happening, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm making sure the vendors are, you know, everything.
Yeah.
So then when I get out of the planner mode, then I'm like, well, okay, so let's say 8 o'clock and, you know, everything, the party's happening, but I'm still working because I'm still there. And I know the vendors are going to still be like, hey, Val, you know, even though I'm not working anymore, they see me.
Yeah.
You know, so
exactly.
that's why it's like either A, you hire me as a planner and I'm planner the whole time and I don't enjoy the party, or B, you either hire someone else that I recommend or I know, whatever.
And you're there. And you're there.
And I'm there. But then it gets tricky for the other planner because they know they're being watched.
Well, you could
You know,
use subcontract.
basically, exactly.
use
So in that
subcontract.
case, it have to be, you know,
It's under your watch. You did all the heavy work, and they're just
So
coming.
that's the thing. But then does the friend trust?
You know how I've
yeah.
done it? I'll be honest. You know how I've done it. My whole career. What I've done is I will give them a price
Yeah.
very similar to what full price.
Okay.
I'll deduct a little bit off my pay, but I'm gonna give them a gift as if I was a guest, like a full-fledged gift.
Okay, I see.
That
yeah.
So
makes sense. That
that's the
makes
way
sense.
I do
That
it.
makes
So
sense.
I'll take, you know, like if the band is a certain price, I'm gonna give that price. I'm gonna take
Yeah,
out
okay.
some of my pay because you know, maybe I'll get paid half that night,
Yeah.
and I'm good with that.
Yeah,
You know,
as long as you're okay with that.
because I'm helping
then,
them.
Yeah.
And I'll get paid half that night, but I'm gonna, you know, if I was going to your wedding as a guest, I would put, you know, $300 in
Yeah,
an envelope.
whatever,
I'm
yeah.
gonna give an envelope, and I'm gonna, like a guest. I'm gonna work,
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
but I'm gonna give you
yeah.
a gift. Thank you for the invite,
Exactly.
and that's how I do it. So
Like,
I feel
I'll-
like
It balances
it
some.
balances out. I
Like
guess.
even for me, I was never asked by a friend just yet, but I already know more or less how I'm gonna, if I ever get there, I'll
Yeah.
It's hard to approach
I'll
because
maneuver.
I don't know how feasible it is, though. I would be reluctant to approach a friend
That's- I
to
mean-
do something that is big. That's an event. That's a big event.
But it's also bad. Like
I
I've
don't
had
know.
friends.
I don't
I've
even
had
know.
friends that didn't hire me. Not many.
That too.
Not many,
that's
to be
like-
honest. And it's like, I want you to have a good
sting.
time. I
It
get
touches.
it.
It's like a little
You stung a
sting.
bit.
It
Yeah, it's
stings
like,
a little
well,
bit. It stings a little bit.
And that's the thing when you're a professional in the industry and your friend doesn't ask you. You're like, but how about, you know, like, but me, you know?
Yeah.
But again, you have to be like, well, there's a reason why they didn't ask.
Yeah.
And then it gets touchy. You said the money part.
yeah,
it's
that
like
could be a big touchy
It's like a
part.
whole thing in one. But if your friend, you know, if you're very close with your friend, let's say, and they're okay with it, then by all means, go for it. But I think it's important to have a conversation.
yeah.
To be like, hey, so and so, I want to hire you as my photographer. I know you're my good friend.
Yeah.
I know you're an amazing photographer. You're well recognized. Everyone loves your work. What do you feel comfortable being my photographer that day, or would
Yeah.
you rather you be a guest?
Yeah, because I
you
kind
have
of
to
see it as
you ha-
business and pleasure type
yeah.
thing.
And that's
right?
the thing too.
So-
Like at the end of the day, I say have a conversation with that vendor friend, and then take it from there. Because maybe your vendor friend might say, no, I'd rather just be a guest. I don't want
Yeah,
to.
you see?
Or not only that, but just say I don't even want to get involved because it's pleasure. You know, you're mixing both.
Yeah.
And then let's say if something goes wrong, then you lose your friendship over it because let's say the
Because
pictures
that's it.
aren't
That's why
you
I'm a
know.
little bit-
So there's a lot too at stake when not only the reliability, but how about your friendship after? What happens on the wedding day? Again, let's say your photographer, friend, vendor, whatever. Let's say you get sick.
Exactly. Like, what are you supposed to do?
You know, and it's like
And he doesn't have a replacement, because sometimes when you hire an agency
Yeah.
or you hire a company,
Yeah.
there's a look, I can't be there
There-
because I'm not well. I'm going to have
or
my,
under
my
contract
whatever,
it says a
associate.
plan B or something.
Yeah.
Or every vendor works differently.
Yeah.
But
Well,
you know,
let's hope he has a
yeah.
plan-
but
somebody too.
and that's the
Well,
thing, you know. At the end of the day, how much do you value that friendship? Like, let's say, or even forget that, but what happens if your photographer friend is taking pictures and it's not the ones that you want, you know? Because you're like, oh, you look better like this in this view, you know? And you know, you don't,
that's it.
they're not a professional that they're contracted to give X amount of pictures. Because I know in some photographer, their contract, not all of them, but some of them specify, will give you X amount in the final gallery, like let's say X amount of pictures.
Yeah.
So, but maybe your friend might be like, oh, I'll give you whatever. So you see, it's like blurred lines.
Yeah.
So I say, proceed with caution, please.
Yeah.
I know as an artist, I have to say, because I've had this, you know, I've had people literally sit me down, like call me and let's go for a coffee.
Uh-oh.
And then they say, okay, I'm getting married.
It's not. It doesn't end. It doesn't.
No,
start
it was
good.
very good. They sit me down and they say, listen, I'm confused. I want you as a guest because I value our
Your
friendship.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
nice.
that's
I said,
nice.
but I also like I would
Love your
hire you
work,
also.
yeah.
I love your work too. So I don't know. I don't want to disrespect you
Yeah,
and
and that's
hire
fair,
you.
yeah.
Like I don't. And I literally say, my happy place in life is my art.
Yeah.
When I am playing music, I love it. And then when I do it for my friends,
It's even better.
It's even better.
Because it's
Yeah.
more
So
meaningful.
if I see you having a good time, it's the biggest high. I'm probably having more of a high than you are at your own
I was
wedding.
gonna say, yeah.
So, you know, it's never. And if you want me to just party, I'm down with that too. Like
Yeah.
I don't get offended, but I love.
I'm happy when I see my good friends.
I'm happy if I
having a
can
good
do
time,
my
yeah.
art for my good friends. It's my art. It's
Yeah.
my passion.
Yeah.
So
That's
if I
true.
can do it for you, I'd
say,
love to do
and
it.
your friend did the right thing.
Yeah,
Because they
super.
Yeah,
approached
that's
you.
very nice.
And I
Yeah.
think it's good that you have a conversation saying, how do you feel? How would it make you feel?
I would prefer that approach.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
leave it
I
to
think
the,
yeah, I
you know.
think leave it up to your vendor friend
Yeah.
to be like, hey, you know what? I feel more comfortable if I'm actually working for, because it'll make me
Yeah.
happy knowing that you're happy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And that's
I
it.
totally agree
I
with that.
think I
totally
think
agree.
that's the best way to approach a situation.
But I also
Yeah.
don't want to make them like, because I also and I'm like, but I do understand if there's a different style of
It's
music
true, that's
you
true,
want,
what type of
or
style,
if
yeah.
you know if because sometimes like I've done so many family parties that once in a while, like there's one family I did. I think I've done baptisms, communions,
Okay,
weddings.
I was gonna say.
I did like honestly in a 5-year span, I must have done about 15, 20 parties for this
Wow.
whole family. They love us.
Wow,
That's
that's,
amazing.
crazy.
And then one of the cousins literally said, I don't get offended. He called me and said, don't get
Please
offended.
don't, but
I
I-
just want to get a
Different.
different sound for that day, you know? And I said, by all means, man.
Don't
Enjoy-
please
like,
Yeah,
don't
it's
be
their day.
for
You can't
15
say
occasions.
like you've given
yeah.
me so much work that it's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, it's so appreciated.
That don't even worry,
Don't
yeah.
even worry
It's
about it.
true.
I'll, you know, if
Don't-
I know them, if I know who you're going to hire, I'll try to get you a better price.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
want to help you, you know?
Exactly.
That's
so
nice,
that's,
that's nice.
I don't
yeah.
want them to feel obliged because I get it.
That's
you know,
the word.
styles
yeah.
are different for everybody.
And that too, even let's say you're, photographer, different styles, music,
Yeah.
everyone has their own little niche. So you have to make sure also that you like what they provide.
style of
Yeah.
photography. If you don't
Yeah.
like,
If your friend is more, vintage look or this look or
Yeah.
more cinegraphic, whatever,
Yeah.
and you prefer the more laid back casual, well,
yeah, it just
it's
clash
not, yeah.
with your
so,
taste,
and that's
right?
the thing. That's what it comes down to, I think.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I agree. I totally
Yeah.
agree. I just think I would be more reluctant based on the fact that they're friends, right? And
Yeah.
if something should happen.
Would
So-
you? Yeah, you would.
Depends.
'Cause
It
you don't-
depends, I guess, on what it is.
Yeah, and
You know
that's
what I
true. But
mean?
let's say if you're to hire again your DJ friend, and let's say he ends up playing the wrong music or whatever, because
Yeah.
they say, "Oh well, I know your family too, and I know your family likes this."
Yeah,
You
but you have to understand, like a DJ, you have the older
Yeah,
generation.
and
the
that's
younger,
the
you
thing.
have
So
to really,
I
really
think
know.
the best thing, like Steph said, have a conversation.
Yeah.
With
I
your-
love that approach.
Yeah,
I think
have
that's the best.
have an honest conversation. Say, look, I don't want to make you feel obliged. I don't want you to treat me differently. Blah blah blah. Like, how do you feel if you were to work on my wedding? Would you feel bad that you can't go sit down and eat because you know you're gonna be working?
Yeah, it's
like,
true.
Like, how do you
the end.
feel? Or even that, making me a wedding cake. If your friend's a baker and they're like, well, do you feel comfortable making the cake? To my style, if they make tamales, or if they don't, it's true.
I
Or
love
if
tamales.
or if they
Tamales.
don't know how to make, so you have to really, I think, approach it with with an open heart and be in an open mind and to be honest.
And you know what? If they're really your friend, you know their character.
That's true.
There's
Exactly.
certain people that you just say, "Oh my God, he's my friend," but I don't.
Yeah.
Not, and it's not to be mean, but I don't
Yeah.
trust him or her.
For such a big task.
They seem
Yeah.
so flighty, or I don't want to say flighty, but
No,
but
it's an example.
like you know
Yeah,
someone's
yeah.
character. Like,
If you know them long enough, you'll know what you'll know how they'll act.
The
or
do's
you-
and don'ts.
Yeah.
Like we know already how you are as a wedding
Yeah.
planner
Yeah.
just by
It's true. Yeah.
talking every week.
And I know
Yeah.
your house the band, and you know everything.
Yeah.
I know we know each other.
we know
quite
that we
well.
take
Yeah.
it seriously and we
Exactly.
really put time and effort
Yeah.
into our
Yeah. That's
our
very
craft.
true.
So
Yeah.
and you also know if your friend is partying 4 nights a week
Yeah, that's
and,
true.
and has a different girl every 2 weeks,
And-
then
That
you know
guy's
he does a
problem.
wedding every 2 months. Then you're like, I don't know how
Yeah,
serious
yeah.
he takes it. I don't trust that guy for some reason, or
Yeah.
girl. You know, it could be whatever.
Yeah,
So then
that's
don't
true.
don't go down that
Then
road.
don't
you know?
even
Yeah, yeah.
even bother to have that conversation because
exactly.
you're gonna know that answer right away.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't
Just
want to
come
touch
up
on
with that same. Just, I really want you as a guest.
I want you to enjoy the
Right?
Try to
party,
convince
yeah.
them.
It's true, and just be honest. I say just have an honest conversation.
I've missed a lot of weddings because of that
Really?
too. Yeah, I've missed a lot of a lot. I can't say a lot. People that would I get the invitation and then the call and they're like, hey, I'm getting married or whatever, and I'm like, I don't want to force you,
Yeah.
but if I'm not booked. Like if I cannot not take another wedding unless it's my brother, sister, or whatever. Obviously,
That's
like if it's
different,
something.
yeah.
But if it's like a second
Your
cousin
brother's sister?
or my brother, or if it's a brother or
Oh,
a sister.
okay, I was gonna say your brother or sister. Wouldn't that make it your sister?
Like if it's a second cousin, I've missed second cousins. They couldn't afford a band,
Yeah.
so they wanted a DJ. I'm not upset.
Yeah.
I'm not upset at all.
Yeah,
Yes.
at least
But-
be honest. Yeah.
But I can't not take a party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can't not take a gig because we're 12.
Yeah.
I
You're not just one person.
No, we're not
you're
one
a whole
person. I'm affecting.
brigade, yeah.
I'm affecting everybody.
Everyone
Yeah.
gets affected by that decision.
by that
Yeah.
decision. So
Yeah,
if I'm
that's
going to
true.
your wedding, there's 10 people not working in the middle of the season where they would be working. So
Yeah.
it
It's
causes
a big decision. It's a big.
It's a
decision.
responsibility.
And I've missed it.
is.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. And I go to the cocktail and I give my envelope and then I
You leave
go to
and
my
you go
wedding.
to the gig.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. That's the reality of.
Last year,
Yeah.
I had a cousin of mine who got married. She wanted us, but we were already booked when she decided.
Oh, okay,
And the
that's-
wedding I had was right before Brian Mulrooney was there, and he sang with us that day. And he died after. But just to say, I remember that day vividly because
Yeah.
I went to my cousin's wedding. I hugged him. My family was like, "Where are you going?" I'm like,
After work.
"I gotta.
work
I
tonight,
can't
yeah.
not do it."
It's
Oh, that's too bad.
And then you know what? We got there and we played an opening song, and that opening song was
Make You Feel My Love by Adele.
"Make You Feel My Love" by Adele. She's amazing.
She's great.
Yeah.
I think she's gorgeous.
She,
Do you?
She's a nice- I
yeah.
think she's lovely.
She has a lot of songs.
She's got a great voice. Did you see the clip
does.
with her and Celine Dion?
Yes,
I didn't see that.
wasn't that
I didn't-
amazing?
So Celine Dion went to see her show in Vegas,
Okay.
and she was just sitting in the crowd watching, and Adele was singing. She didn't know Celine Dion was
Oh,
there.
that's
Yeah.
nice. Okay.
And during
She
the
saw
song, she saw Celine Dion, and she just started bawling.
And she went to give her a hug.
Yeah, it was a really
So
nice song.
maybe I saw it. Maybe probably it was on the news.
It was on the news.
feed,
It was
yeah.
everywhere too.
That's so
Yeah.
sweet. Aw.
Yeah.
It's a good song. It's a very, very nice song,
That's
Adele.
it's
You
really,
can't go wrong with it.
It's really a classic song. I feel like
powerful.
it'll never age, that song. Like no matter how many years, I think it'll always make somewhat of a comeback.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's some songs that are like, ugh, you could tell what time it was. Like, come on. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
there's so-
some, it's just a classic that you can't go wrong,
Yeah.
and-
She's,
And she's powerful.
Yeah,
she is.
good.
I know when
She
she did
hits.
Skyfall, the song, I remember,
Yeah.
that was really, really good
Easy
song.
on me.
Yeah.
I mean, she's done a
She's
lot.
great. She's a good singer. And I know, speaking about Adele, at Chateau Saint Agnès, she filmed a part of her video there. So they have the Adele room, apparently.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. That's
I
pretty
remember I
cool.
wanted to go visit it. So, yeah. So they have an Adele room where they decorated a room for her video. And she did film there, apparently.
Oh, nice.
So it's
That's
called the
very,
Adele
very
room.
cool.
That's cool. I like her. I
Little
like her.
fun fact.
I think she's a beautiful
Yeah,
woman.
she has a beautiful voice. She
Yeah.
has a very powerful voice.
Very powerful, yeah. And we have a thought of the
Yes.
day. Look into that camera. Give the charm,
So-
the smile. There it is.
So, thought of the week: when is the right time to start planning your wedding? Because I feel like,
Never. What? Sorry.
I feel that some
Is there
couples.
booze? I can go right now.
Because I feel like when you just get engaged, it's a lot happening. You just get engaged. You're excited. You're on cloud 9.
I love just being engaged.
So
That's
a lot
okay.
of I see online forums. I see it all because I'm part of a lot of online groups. Just in general.
Yeah.
Twitter, whatever, Reddit.
Yeah.
All
X.
My bad X. All of them. Instagram. They're like, well, I just got engaged. I don't know when to start planning. To be honest with you, just start off with a date and a budget. because that's
It's so funny. They literally start planning
Yeah.
9 minutes after.
So
I gotta call
I'd
this venue.
say-
I gotta.
I'd say if you know, example, okay, so let's say you have a wedding date, which is the first thing you should have, right?
Yeah.
Most importantly.
You got to know when it's all going to go down.
And then after that, a realistic budget, I'd say get a planner after that, because,
Yeah.
You're going to need help.
Sometimes,
You're gonna need
sometimes you
help.
don't need the date. Like, depends the importance.
yes.
So if you like a venue and it's super important.
So I'd
Yeah.
say, yeah.
Pick
so,
a period of time and
Yeah.
say what Saturday, if it's if you want it as a Saturday,
or,
what
yeah.
days are you open? Because I really want this venue or this.
And also, too, do your research on the venue to see
Yeah.
if they're already booked, because
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
your date that you want, they're booked.
That's why.
Or
be
maybe
you might be flexible because
Yeah.
sometimes some are not because they've already.
And the popularity of the place. Let's
Yeah.
say if it's a happening spot in Montreal,
Yeah.
most likely they've been booked for 2 years.
Yeah.
I remember a few of my past clients, they had to book before even finding me because they're like, it was already booked.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
My
so
next
they-
year
yeah.
is we have about close to 20 weddings
Yeah,
booked
I
already.
believe you,
Wow.
yeah.
For
Me too.
2025, yeah.
I'm booking up quickly actually for
Yeah.
next year, so
Yeah.
if you need a planner.
hurry up,
Just
hurry up.
saying, the process, but at the end of the day, say have a date, have a budget, call the venues first.
Yeah.
Is your wedding date flexible? First and foremost,
Yeah.
are you willing to push it a day after?
Okay.
Like let's say if you're open within a week span, like of a few
Yeah,
different
or
days.
two, 2 or 3 Saturdays. Like
Yeah.
if August is your month, let's say.
Yeah,
well,
for whatever reason, or religious reasons, or whatever.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of family coming out of town, you have to
You have to be
consider-
ideal. You
So
have
I'd
to
say
be
think
realistic.
about that all first. Call around the venues. After your venue, I'd say is smooth sailing because the vendors, there's many different. Unless if let's say you want a specific band or DJ for, okay, then fine. But then you go from there. And what's your priority too?
Yeah.
Like, is your
Yeah.
venue, the food, the music, the entertainment, How about some other things? Like, how important are they on your list?
How's this? What if you have a really good friend that's a vendor? You got to
Yeah.
make sure they're
They're-
not booked.
It's true.
So you
Yeah.
might have to you could
It's
pick a
very
date
true, yeah.
that's what happened. My cousin literally booked a date and she went about it that way and I don't blame her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when she called me, we were already done.
And
Yeah.
the thing is,
So
that-
if it's
yeah.
important to have that friend there,
ask, and even to the date, and why I say the date is first, because then it creates a timeline for you.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
a realistic timeline.
Exactly, yeah.
And you say, oh, I don't know when, but I want all the vendors to. I'll say, well, what's your wedding date, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even for me, I'm like, do you have a date? And all of them say yes, is this date? Because then are you booked?
Yeah.
And then, but even though how flexible, like I said, are the vendor friend? You have to look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's the best advice is to start by a date and to start not right away, but don't wait too late.
Yeah,
Because then
I agree.
everyone that you might want to work with is already booked.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'd say take a good 2 weeks, take
Sure.
it all in, enjoy the moment, then start getting down, to start the baby steps.
Yeah.
First the date, ask your family, ask your friends, ask anyone that's important. I'll be there part of the way, helping you say, hey, how about the family in, I don't know, wherever, can they come down this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are obligations, right? So consider your guests too. As if you pick a date and no one can come, well,
yeah,
Yeah,
that
like
sucks.
sometimes-
that
sometimes-
would be sad. So consider who are you inviting, how many people are you, how many people do you want to come, right? If you say, well, I'm eloping to a destination place, that's a different story right there, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
at the end of the day, look at all that stuff,
Yeah.
and then make an informed decision.
Yeah. Lisa, what's
agree.
the thought of the thought?
Well, I completely agree with what Val said.
Yeah.
You would have to you have to pace yourself before jumping into it. Like unless you already have a
Like an
meditated idea.
yeah.
Like let's say you have those people who are very passionate about that day and they
For-
say I always wanted
a
a
June
fall
wedding or a June wedding.
So
Vampire
then
Diaries.
already that that's where you're headed.
So you already, yeah.
I
And-
mean, like, I love fall. I love
Yeah.
colors. I love it because I find you can work so much with
It's
that.
true, you can.
So that was the block,
The fall, it had to be in fall,
Yeah,
yeah.
because it's the colors. You can go a little bit light. You can go a little dark.
You could play around
you can
with
play
it, yeah.
around with
but
it.
you
So-
had an idea, you
Yeah.
had a vision more or less where you wanted.
well, that's it, So I mean, that's what I would say. So
Yeah,
it's more
it's true.
take it in. Like if it was me, though, I would stay engaged forever. Like
But
that.
I say, and even to your, And even to your time frame, like how long?
Ring, okay, we're married technically because we lived together for 2 years.
it's
So
true.
technically we are married.
Yeah.
So the diamond you got, the other ring I couldn't give a shit, but the diamond, give me the fucking diamond.
No, you know what? I'm not one of those that like a big freaking massive rock.
I don't like that.
I don't like it. It's too,
Like,
for
even-
me, it's gaudy.
I find
the
it's-
bigger the rock doesn't mean you love the woman more. I don't think.
I think it's like you whatever
Rock?
you like. Rock.
That's the word you want to say. Okay, sorry.
I don't know.
bigger
For,
the
Rhymes with?
for me, like with,
Oh, you shit. That's important. I only say I do if.
if it's, I don't know. For me, it is what it is. I'm not picky. Honestly, I'm not picky at all. It's like,
Kevin, you didn't hear that.
it is what it is. It's all good. I got the ring. I'm married. I can't complain.
There you
Beautiful.
go.
I had my May wedding and I had my peonies.
Your peonies.
Very happy.
Yeah.
That's
not the
because that's
No,
why.
that's reliable.
Okay, the two reasons why we did a May wedding because my wedding season.
Yeah.
And you could only get peonies in May and June.
See.
I got married in February.
Oh God,
Oh, yeah.
that's
Fucking February.
August. May.
And
February is
also
the worst
May-
month ever.
And May is when we started dating. May 22nd,
Oh.
back 9 years ago. So
God.
that's why May.
No, you're still a
So that's
youngin'.
why May.
You're a
was-
youngin'. You're like.
That's why May was important too, because we started dating around that. So I took that. Well, we
Yeah.
took that all into consideration.
I like the correction.
We took that all into consideration. We decided May 26th because
Yeah.
then the venue was available.
Day
that
after my
day.
mother's birthday.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So you know what's funny? The reality is basically what you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We.
Patat.
There's a we now.
what happens is the girls tell the boys about
Just
a
show
million
up.
times. Oh, you know we're gonna have these people for the wedding. You know that this is what's gonna be in June. The plans are done before he even asks.
That is
because
I mean, it is true. And just
how many women say, if you want to get married in June, we'd have to start planning by August or whatever.
Yeah.
So
The
that means you would have to
invite to save the
propose
date.
yesterday. But I'm just saying.
But I'm
I don't
just
wanna-
saying today's okay too. But
Today's
Yeah,
okay
that's
too.
it's fine.
We just
today.
lose a day.
Even
Just
next week, if you want to plan it a little bit more, next
Like
week
if you
we're
want to
good.
put some thought into it, maybe.
Yeah.
No,
you
or
know?
even better. We'll start planning and then you ask me.
Yeah.
So at least we're ready for the
Surprise.
date.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
surprise.
That's it.
And that's basically how 99%
Yeah,
of it
I'd want to say.
It is
I
true.
mean,
No.
with Kevin, I felt I didn't feel bad. I mean, he knew what he was signing up for when he married a planner.
Yeah.
So, like,
right?
I mean,
Especially a planner.
Yeah.
You've worked with so many. You know who you're hiring before it
yeah,
even
I
happens.
told him I know who we're working with.
He's like, yeah,
Like,
good. I don't have to go see a million of
He
them.
wanted. Okay, I have to admit, he didn't want to be involved in something.
Sure.
So that's great. No, he did. He
His
wanted
talks, I hope so.
his tux. He picked by himself.
You don't seem sure.
That's I gave him inspo pics.
Yeah.
I made him like a PowerPoint sort of presentation.
She had a whole presentation done because she
You
wasn't
could
going to be
choose it,
there.
But
And
you
I'm
could choose
like-
it. These are your
And
parameters.
I'm like, this is like what style, what the bridesmaid dresses are gonna be.
Okay.
Like the color palette, So to pick something that matches.
Fucking color palettes.
Like
Take this picture,
told
whoever
him,
you
yeah.
talk to.
this is what
This
I
is-
want.
just show
A
them this picture and we're good.
So he did well. I mean, he looked great.
He
I
did
can't,
well.
I can't complain.
He did
very,
well.
very classic. That's what I wanted. You know.
He followed your instructions.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot
Perfect.
of PowerPoints, a lot of after work meetings on his end because we had to schedule them in. Because I had to work on my weddings that I was planning, so I had to throw mine in there too, in the mix of weddings. But I told him when he engaged, I'm like, I know who we're working with. I already have 3 top venues, more or
Yeah.
less the vibe. Old Port wedding because I loved Old Port, and basically
Yeah.
picture-wise, you have indoor, outdoor options, and I know pretty much. That was
Yeah.
it.
And in the end, you decide. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
technically
I'm a wedding
speaking.
planner. We're getting married. I'm deciding. That's basically what it is.
And he chose a tux.
He chose the tux you wanted.
Yeah. What else did he pick?
Not much.
The limo.
I know he spoke with the DJ. That's because
Okay.
he wanted to. He was. He came to some of the vendor meetings, like with stationery. He was involved.
That's good.
Because you
That's
needed
good.
a ride.
No, but I mean, it was like on like Zoom,
That's good, that's
FaceTime.
good, that's
he
good.
he knew what was happening. He was in the loop. Okay, he knew he
Good.
had ideas. He knew not everything was a surprise for him.
Gotcha.
The rental is what I picked, so he was surprised on that. But besides that,
Tell him, look, you can't be
Yeah.
aware of everything. There's got to be a little bit of mystery
That's
in
why I
there.
told him, like, I want him to be like, wow, you know? So he was wowed.
Wow, we're
Yeah.
all waiting. A wedding.
And I got my
Were you
peonies.
wowed?
I was happy.
I was
Yes.
happy. I
When
can't
I-
be wowed because I chose
Yeah,
everything. but
I was happy. I mean, I'm happy I got my peonies. That's really one thing I really wanted,
Perfect.
my bouquet. And when I was walking down the aisle, right, with my dad, I was counting the candles on the sides of the, I'm like, hey, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, okay.
Oh my
Imagine
God.
she stops. Where's the guy who did the decor? I said fucking 4 candles, not 3.
Imagine, hold up, Dad. Wait a second.
Hold up, Dad.
Hold up a second.
Yo,
Let me-
Padre. Hold that thought. Give me 1 minute.
Official.
Officiate.
Let me just make it.
Can you make an announcement? I'm looking for the guy who put the candles. Just announce.
Oh my God, imagine.
Tell him to go get another fucking
Like,
candle.
because with my crown, I couldn't bend down, so I was like, okay, we're good. Like, I was quite literally like eyeing the floor, and then I look at Kevin, he's crying. I'm like, okay.
Now I'm going to cry.
Oh, that's
I-
so cute.
I didn't cry though, but I was about to cry. I was about to cry, but I couldn't cry because my crown was so heavy that if I
You're going to cry in pain.
You don't want to cry because it fell.
I'd rip out half my head.
Yeah, it was heavy. It was
10 pounds.
huge.
It was freaking 10. I don't know what possessed me, but I
shit.
looked good. So I was
There you
happy.
go.
It did.
That's
It did.
okay.
She looked beautiful.
I couldn't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I found it on Shebanel Street, the crown. I forget where I was walking, and I'm like, that's the crown I want.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
That's
you know.
true.
It's true.
Awesome.
Alrighty.
Okay.
We're done. Another one.
That was a good one,
How
friends.
time flies by.
I
Yep.
know.
Always like, I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh,
Like,
we're done.
We have a
already.
lot to chime about.
that's true.
Yes.
Wedding chimes with
Hey,
love.
what's up? There's a lot of people watching us.
I know. I was
Yeah, a
gonna
lot of
say.
people were watching us.
Oh my goodness.
Awesome.
Yeah. So already, well, you can find us where?
Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Apple. I feel like YouTube.
YouTube.
YouTube,
Yes.
yeah.
YouTube.
For
We're
sure.
everywhere.
We're
Everywhere, everywhere.
Quite literally.
Living room, in your closet.
Subscribe.
under your
Subscribe.
beds.
Ah!
Guys, if there's ever any topics you want us to
Yes,
cover,
that is
there's
true.
so
Let us
many.
know.
Yeah, let us know.
Comment, let us know. We'll be happy to feature it on the podcast.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's always something. Like,
always
I'm sure there's
something
always
new.
something that's gonna pop up.
It's true. You never know.
Yeah. So
Like-
And if you know, if there's ever a bride that wants to come on the podcast to
Yes,
talk about
that
their
could be
experience,
really, really fun.
anytime,
Or,
anytime.
We're here for that too.
exactly, it would be great to know people's point of view.
Very
People got
important.
married.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Nice seeing you guys. We'll see you again next
Next
time.
time. Bye. Take care.